there, folks. It's now the 6th of September at about 5:15 in the afternoon. Been a long time since I did one of these. Apologies, it's been a rough few months. By rough, I mean I just completely burnt out. I think it was just like I was that determined to have a birthday that didn't suck. So I made myself the pink cake from Stardew Valley cookbook. I didn't do it completely from scratch. I cheated a little bit. I used the cake mix and ready-made frosting, but still, it was worth it. I will stand by that. It was really tasty, and so there was that. I think what pushed me to actually do that was actually look what I got in the post. So I actually got a birthday card from my brother and his family, which was nice. And he said his daughter wanted to make me something. I can't remember if I mentioned it last video, but so in lieu of that, because it's still not ready yet, they sent me a 30 quid Steam gift voucher. So that was nice. So because the cake is so intense and just like cleaning everything and buying stuff and all that, I think after that I just completely crashed out, just been on autopilot for the last few months. And I was going to apply, I can't remember if I mentioned, I was going to try and enroll on this agriculture course at the local college. Tutors took one look at me, or rather, after asking a lot of questions, decided, rightfully so, I suspect actually, that I wasn't in the right headspace to think about college and being surrounded by kids, which pretty much what I would be like, a lot of 16 to 18-year-olds. I think I got into the habit of trying to push myself too hard again. So they sensed it more than I did. I think just they were like, try again next year when I'm doing better. But it was a blow to my confidence, which was already quite fragile. I got pretty low a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to my support worker about it. I was literally in tears. So yeah, wasn't great. On the plus side, my plants are doing well. I actually got to the point where I was getting sick of cucumber, and it's still going. My tomatoes are starting to fruit now as well, which is nice. On that note, on a much happier note, in fact, I've finally been awarded PIP. It's the standard daily living payment, so it's about 73 quid a week. But all this time when I was talking about when my inheritance is going to come in and I can do all this stuff, I completely forgot to account for the fact that they back pay you to when you first claim. And because this has been going on for like 1 or 2 years now, I have a nice amount of back pay. So won't say exactly how much it was, obviously, but it's enough for me to, once I saw the money come in, first thing I did was pay off my credit card. It's the one debt I was still owing on. So that's completely gone now. That in itself, I feel a lot lighter for. Then there was other talk I was making about like getting my face lasered. I know I've actually shaved for change, but my money came in yesterday, so I was out to the dentist, which is another thing I mentioned about getting my teeth fixed. And NHS dentists, if any still exist, are like gold dust, which isn't great when you're on benefits. But when this back pay came in, first thing I did was go to the dentist and register privately. And I've got an appointment for next Friday now. So that's going to cost me quite a bit of money because one of the main things I need done, um, on top of whatever else is happening with my mouth at the moment, is get dentures. Well, my front teeth are fine, you can probably see. The back teeth, however, as you can see from there, but nice big gaps on the sides there. Like I've got one back tooth left on this side and two on this side. And in between, there's a nice little gap about that much, which makes it pretty hard to eat. And I'm pretty sure it's making my aggravating the receding of my gums as well. Because this one here is starting to feel a bit loose. Because I think up there, it's receding enough that the root's starting to get exposed. So that's not great. I don't know how much it's going to cost me in total. I'm not looking forward to it, if I'm honest, but that's definitely going to be the biggest ADHD tax I'll be paying. So I know dentures alone are going to cost at least over £1,000 on top of whatever else I need work on. So yeah. On a lighter note, the second thing I did was go to the local beauty clinic and ask about hair removal. And I stepped in there feeling very unsure of myself because I've never done this before. But they're very friendly. Also, more importantly, very trans friendly. They even said like they've had quite a few people coming in for that kind of treatment, exactly that kind of treatment actually, like transitioning male to females, getting their beards lasered. So I'll just be doing that as a non-binary person. And the consultant, the therapist rather, they had some spare time to give me a 5-minute consult, like just tell me about the procedure and ask me a few questions. And I've got a form to fill out. You need a patch test 48 hours before treatment. So I've got that on Tuesday afternoon, and just saying, providing the patch test comes back all right, so no nasty side effects like burning or anything like that, I should be good to go in a couple of days later. So that'd be nice. Funny, like looking through the forms, I can't believe this is actually happening now. Great. I also had a doctor's appointment last week. No, was it last week? No, it was towards the beginning of this week, rather. This was it was a follow up to a blood test I had a week or so ago. So, unlike the GP when I was registered in the Garrow Valley, this one did a blood test strictly to review my hormone levels. The only blood test I had in the Garrow was to monitor my ADHD medication. This was strictly to monitor my hormone levels on treatment. And I tell you what, especially seeing the GP, I was very impressed. Not only is it a trans-friendly practice, but they have a couple of GPs specifically assigned to deal with transgender patients. So they're more knowledgeable, or at least more open to learning about it. They're not squeamish about prescribing hormones or taking care of the hormone part or changing hormones or anything. So she books me a double appointment because, like, I'm new to the surgery, so she doesn't know me. So she was asking me a lot of questions about it, like where I am and that kind of thing. And she mentioned that, using herself as an example, because she's a postmenopausal woman, um, she mentioned that she is taking a little bit of testosterone, and I was, I was like, well, like, because like women do have a natural bit of testosterone, as I pointed out, and then she mentioned that my estrogen levels are sky high, like uh, at 2000 or something. I can't remember, where the norm is like 500 or something like that. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but yeah, I'm like taking 3 of them a day. So I asked for feminizing effects. Mainly, I think the body fat redistribution was the biggest thing, and the body hair. Uh, the fat distribution never really happened when I was on testosterone, so I ended up a weird shape. So one of the things I wanted was to get that back under control, which is happening very nicely now, what I can see. The other thing was body hair, and I don't know if I can show you here. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, looking pretty good actually. There's still some, you may be able to see what's left, but it's looking pretty good for the most part. The arms, not so much, but I think that's about as good as I can get. Not sure, but she mentioned that she suggested to another patient about taking a bit of testosterone, and she was feeling really good for it. So I think I'm going to take her up on that actually. Um, but I'm still coasting on autopilot for the most part. I may or may not still be recovering from the spending of spoons that I did on my birthday. I don't know. I'm still sleeping a lot. I'm still not. I don't know if I haven't felt truly alive for a long time, to be honest. But yeah, partly this is mainly to do with the burnout, I think. But still, it's a lot to do with why I haven't made any videos lately. Not even gaming videos. I just haven't had the energy. Also, I've been caught up in running through the setup on my story run, just because all these new shiny mods came out and other less new mods. But I was testing out other stuff like cornucopia mods, like adding new crops and flowers and machines to the game, which I'm glad for actually, because it's, for the story at least, it's more like real life. There's things like nut trees and bell peppers and things like that. So there's that I've been doing. On that note, to do with the garden, very exciting update actually. So I when I was talking to the support worker last time he was here, when I was feeling really low, I mentioned in passing about growing food, showed him my cucumbers and stuff. He mentioned that there's a pot of money available because these places are run by charity. Um, that there's a pot of money available for any gardeners to make good use of the back garden, because we have a lawn out the back, so that it's quite a nice space as well. So there's a pot of money available for me to make full use of that lawn and turn it into a vegetable garden. and given me some tools to work with and things like that. So first thing that sprung to mind was depending how many of the videos you've seen before, you remember when I was talking about creating food forests? Yeah. So those of you who haven't seen my videos before, I've had this idea rattling around in my head for a while, ever since I came across it, about doing a food forest. Food forest is a kind of permaculture where instead of growing vegetables in rows like you do with a typical farm, this one you're growing different kinds of crops in layers, things like trees, shrubs, ground cover, that kind of thing, to create a forest type ecosystem because it's mimicking the kind of plants you see growing out in the wild forests. And having been out in the forest before, I can attest to this. Like, definitely a lot of ground cover. So the idea with this is because in the wild, like the forests look after themselves. It's like you got the trees that shed their leaves and they become fertilizer. And you got plants that dig up nitrogen from the soil to make it accessible to other plants, and natural pest control and things like that. And it just cruises on by itself. The idea of the food forest is to recreate that with crops, fruit, and maybe even nut trees. So you've got eventually, after a few years, you've got a vegetable garden type thing that looks after itself, so self-sustainable. The effort comes in setting it up and looking after all the plants are getting established. But once everything's all settled, you have to do very little to it to keep it going, or anything to it really. So support worker had these couple of women round, like his colleagues, like housing management, something like that. He said he was going to have a word with them about helping me out getting this garden set up. So I came back for my errands yesterday, and he had these colleagues around and introduced me and everything. And so I had a nice long chat about like what I wanted to do in the garden. And I mentioned the whole food forest and how it looks after itself. She was like, "Oh, I like that," about like looking after itself, and mentioned the whole, once I get nominated for a property, then someone's going to move in here and who's going to keep it going. So the whole, once it gets established, it looks after itself. They're very keen for that. And honestly, like with the waiting list being like 5 years long still, it's going to take somewhere about that long for the thing to get established anyway. So once I am ready to be moved on, then it'll be up and running and self-sustaining. So that's good. They're also very interested in my plants that are already growing, that taking lots of pictures, and even asked if I'd be willing to be a case study for them. So, they described something like this as volunteering. Like they book it down as voluntary hours that I'd be doing. So, I mean, for me, it would be a hobby, or like partly a, well, yeah, it's something that I want to do, something I want to do anyway. But they're classing it as voluntary work. So they also, interestingly enough, like support worker mentioned to them about me trying to get on this agriculture course, and they're all saying how they could use this year, this coming year, when for me getting this food forest up and running as a kind of portfolio. They would take all these pictures of my existing crops to start off this portfolio. This they provide a reference and everything. So yeah, looking very good. About time things started looking up. It's been too long just cruising or even crashing like this. So there was that, and when I was seeing the doctor, um, I was we were talking about kind of surgery that I've had and would be interested in, that kind of thing, and she was saying she was going to chase up about breast surgery on the NHS. So last I heard from the gender clinic, the endo said she was going to ask about that, see if they could secure funding for it. That was the last I heard. And then talking to the GP a few days ago, and she was saying like she'd ask about it because she don't know what's available, and I was like, I don't know what's available. But when I was consulting with the hair removal therapist after the dentist yesterday, we were talking about not only the hair removal, but the subject of the NHS came up, and mentioned breast surgery, and she was like they should be doing it on the NHS. In fact, one of her clients had been referred to the NHS in Brighton, funnily enough, because that's where I was born. But also, she said the waiting list isn't even that long. Like, I can't remember when this client got referred, fairly recently, I think, but her op is in November. This is with the NHS. So I'm praying that I can get a boob job on the NHS now. Like, if that, if this is a thing that can happen, it's going to save me like 5.5 or maybe more out of the inheritance I'm still waiting for. So yeah, I mean that would be amazing if that could happen. There's, that's going to be the only thing now. I know I'm on the waiting list for revision for bottom surgery. Whatever's going to happen with that. Um, so that's already been taken care of. It would eventually, anyway. So teeth are finally going to get seen to. My face is finally going to get seen to. If getting my breast replaced can be added to that nice little list, that would be amazing. Um, Also, because I've now been awarded PIP, I might actually be able to afford to go back to LARP next year. If I have been on the waiting list or whatever, but if I can, if like this other client, I can get everything like face and breasts taken care of sometime this year, even if it's at the end of even if it's the end of this year or even early next year, I should be. By the time I go back to LARP next year, I should be sorted. And I already decided I was going to retire my character Esme because I can't keep up with them anymore. Like, I just don't have the energy for it. Like, I don't have the bandwidth to deal with their busy schedule. I'm also fed up with the messing about with prosthetics and wigs and everything. I still will need some kind of makeup because there's for those of you who aren't familiar with this game, there are these lineages, like touched by the magical realms. Esme was what they call the Naga, was like night lineage. so like serpent. So like feathered serpent. So I had this hairpiece with feathers and scales. That I got a lot of compliments and even photos last time, which was nice. Um, but the one I want to go for this time is a briar, which is spring realm, and this one is like, because they all have these physical trappings and personality quirks. The briar is basically um, my pass to go completely mask off, full ADHD and everything. Like um, it is basically ADHD as well, because there's the bluntness that they have, like no filter, no flowery language or anything like that. They just speak their minds and everything, which is pretty much what I do anyway. Only I've got in trouble with it before. I mean, role play wise, you can probably get in trouble with it anyway, but um, it's part of the thing. So there's that. There's also the ADHD side where they're all like more hyper and stuff like that. Um, as with ADHD, there's several ways you could play it. I mean, like a lot of people probably like the way they role play it is like neurotypical people who are role playing it. But as far as I'm concerned, it would just be my license to go completely like full ADHD, full ASD. I observed like, well, with someone else who's like the people I camp with, like we have these camps of various houses and stuff. Our house is mostly ADHD and some autism. So this other guy who is also ADHD is like you're saying how he tends to go full ADHD when we were at Empire, the name of the game, and I just looked at him like, no, I think that's probably what I do as well. But it's a safe place to go completely mask off, and with this broil lineage, it would give me license to do that in character as well as out of character. So I could just be completely, like, let's say completely myself, completely uh completely neurospicy myself, like tap into, like, have both these disorders work with me for a change. So I just lean completely into that. Um, so hopefully, if this if I take the doctor up on testosterone, and hopefully that's going to give me a little bit of a boost to like inject me with a bit of life, which would be nice. Um, but that should be good. But it'll be something to look forward to. Um, and with Pit now, like it's like 73 quid a week, I can actually afford the fees for LARP, and it'd be nice to get back into like making costume and stuff again. I'll need a new sewing machine, but there's sewing courses I could go for. I'm still renting a storage unit, which is um, power and lighting attached to it. I've still got my 6 foot camping table in there. Um, haven't set anything up yet for obvious reasons, but well, this is how my arm's looking now, so pretty good. Um, I've been discharged from the fracture clinic and physio now, so I don't have to do the exercises anymore, thank God. But makeup wise, for LARP, this is the briar is characterized by scarring that becomes bark. So, right, a lot of people, they elaborate this as like stuff on their faces and things like that. But it is basically scarring. But except when briars are cut, they not so much bleed bark, but when they scar over, the scar tissue is bark basically. And so looking at this, which is obviously, oh, there you go. So this, I don't know how much better it's going to look by the time I go back to LARP, but like this is obviously scar tissue. So it would be, what I'm considering is just, depending how all this looks, there's potential for just dressing that up as bark scar tissue. So yeah, there is a scar on my thumb, but you can barely see it. Whereas this is pretty obvious. So so that would be my that would be the extent of my makeup for this character, is just finding a way to dress her up as Buck, and that will be it. Maybe apply makeup later on as and when I feel like it, like no, just the old lippy and everything. But that would be it. I would leave my hair alone this time. There is the possibility of using contact lenses to change your eye color, but I tried that with my first character, and no, I contact lenses and smoky fires don't mix, so they were bugger to put in anyway. But yeah, so that would be the extent of my stuff for this character. So it would just be costume and, well, rethinking a bit of costume. Also, I have this backstory in mind where this character will be an apprentice to Esme, my last character. So, Esme had this ship, which would be marooned, and they'll basically live. The survivors were living in the ruins of this ship, and like trying to just making the best of things, basically. Uh, not well, say living in the ruins, like using the ruins of the ship to like just build themselves little huts or something just to live in. But yeah, so as much as I was considering being a noble with Esme, I don't know if I'd have the social bandwidth to do that now. But I'll definitely start as Yo-folk, because I would definitely incorporate farm into this, because like there'd be things like them like survival, so they'd be like growing their own food just to live on, that kind of thing, and catching fish. So there'd be that side of it, and it would be the perfect way to incorporate my growing real life endeavours, where sometimes I could bring my own crops from what I grow here and bring them to lot to share with the others. So that would be pretty cool. And like it'd be the perfect excuse. So like, it's the produce from my farm. You want some? So yeah, that'd be cool. I'm starting to get more into the mindset of thinking about it. So yeah, things are finally looking up. No, I don't know yet if I'll ever get to a point of being able to learn to drive. I would like to, because when it comes to, I mean, there's still the whole living in a van or whatever that I would prefer to do, rather than being back in the renting cycle. Although saying that, um, uh, I, after a while of trying to get private renting as per the council being like, that would be the quickest way to get me out of this place. But there's a whole, how do you think I'm in this position? If I could do private renting, I wouldn't be here. And especially before I was awarded PIP, and there's the whole, even if I could be funded like 6 months rent in advance or something, every single letting agent or landlord or whatever that I've tried to get a house with, they're like, nope, need a guarantor. And I don't have one. I wouldn't want to ask anyone that either, to be honest. But yeah, if you're on benefits, you need a guarantor. So also my credit history, until it's updated with me paying this debt off, is pretty poor. So no private landlord is going to look at me anyway. So after the last time I got turned down from a letting agent, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm like, support worker was like talking about people languishing in these places until they get nominated. And I was like, I just said to him that I can see why now. Like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just gonna wait for council. It's gonna be a lot easier to get into. So they also tend to be cheaper rents anyway. But if or when I do get nominated, then yeah, I will probably end up in a council flat, which hopefully isn't going to be too big. Pretty interesting that I've had time to think about what kind of thing I would like from a housing situation. I used to need more space, and because practical hobbies like sewing, for instance. So I do need workspace, but I'm renting a storage unit now, which serves as a nice workspace. That's 176 a month. This place, all I have to pay is a weekly service charge of 15 quid. So yeah, so I've got my workspace, I've got my living space, which, I mean, it's the room and the kitchen. I've showed you the kitchen already. But we had housing people looking around here yesterday, just seeing what kind of repairs they need doing. And there's a couple of holes in the Llano in this room. There's a hole in the wall in the next room. They're like, yeah, that needs repairing. So that's going to be taken care of. I would like to crochet a rug or blanket that's going to be turned into a rug. The kind of thing I was going to do in my tent, but I mean, the flooring area here isn't as big as in my tent, but it's cleaner and warmer. Um, it's not so much of a sauna up here than it was in the tent during the heat wave, and we've had a couple of heat waves that's absolutely scorching hot. Like if I did any videos during that time, I would be topless. In fact, I would be naked. I've been sitting around with no clothes on at all during a heat wave and still being pretty hot. So it's been a nightmare, heat wave, heat wise. But yeah, thankfully it's getting cooler now. So, but yeah, I mean, this is what they've offered to touch up the painting in this room. I do need to clean it. Just looking around, like cobwebs that need sweeping up. I have got stuff to take care of that with. Just again finding the motivation to do it. But the whole thing with this, like, I'm only living in a couple of rooms now, like this room and the kitchen. Bathroom is communal and it's downstairs. So got cleaners to take care of the communal areas. So all I really need to keep clean is this room and the kitchen. That's the kind of thing I wanted, in fact. It's just like smaller space to keep clean. less of an energy drain. It's still an effort to get into that kind of mindset of, yeah, I need to do some cleaning. It doesn't look as bad, right? Not nearly as bad as my house. Like the only, well, I've got some clothes out that need putting away at some point. But the only real clutter now is that it's my crochet, and yeah, there's a sweet tub there, so I still have a sweet tooth. And there's a clutter there. Well, with the papers, I need a letter rack of some sort. Yeah, so that's the only real clutter I have now. I also have a standing desk for my laptop, so I can actually get back to gaming videos and be comfortable doing it, which I wasn't before. For those of you who've seen, like the amount of shifting around I was doing because I was sat on the floor, or the rocking of the bed tray, which is now here. Oh, this thing here. So yeah, so I've got a nicer setup, and I have found actually that standing desk suits me a lot better. But I can't sit still for very long at all. My legs start to seize up. So I don't know if it's to do with the whole ADHD thing or what, but I mean, I'm still moving around when I'm at a standing desk. But I mean, it's the nature of the thing anyway. Just like occasionally resting my leg against the back of the desk. Sometimes I need to sit down just to give my legs a break, but I'm also finding I'm more focused when I'm standing. I can show you actually. There it is. Oh yeah, and that little TV over there, that was free. Um, the guy in the flat next door, like past that wall there actually, the guy in the flat next door gave it to me. So it was getting spare. I would like. I was browsing Gumtree. So I was browsing Gumtree the other day, or for a while anyway. There's a 4K 43-inch smart TV going for 130 quid. And is willing to deliver it as well. So I asked about that yesterday. I mean, it would be nice to be to pull myself into the 21st century, if you know what I mean. Like, I've always been a bit behind with the tech because I buy them secondhand. And yeah, this TV would be secondhand still. I mean, 130 quid for TV like that, though. And now I have the money to do it. So yeah, it would be nice if I could get hold of one of those. It would be not nicer to play my Steam Deck with. Might even be able to do some recordings with it actually. So there's so there's a couple of video capture cards on my watch list that I might be able to use, like for doing maybe Switch videos and possibly Steam Deck. Steam Deck actually, the version of Steam now has been updated to include native game recording. I don't know if the audio's been fixed for that or what. Last time I tested it, it got pretty. What's the word? It got pretty glitchy in places. Like it was stuttering. Like it sounded pretty bad. I don't know if that's been fixed, but it could be interesting. Like Steam Deck can play games like Rebirth, for instance, that my current laptop can't handle. Even though, like, I'm back to the Windows 10 laptop that plays Stardew better because the graphics card is bigger than the one on my laptop that I was going to replace that with. It's the one where my screen's broken, so that's something else I could do, is get the well, not the screen broken, it's the surroundings that are broken. I think the connection to the screen got loosened, so I can afford to get that fixed. I can get my bike fixed when I get it back. What I would like to do is get my laptop replaced with a more future-proof version. I've got my eye on one or two, actually. Depending how much I have left to play with after the dentist has finished with me, it may or may not have to wait till my inheritance comes through. I don't know, but at some point I would like to replace that with something that runs better overall on Windows 11, because Windows 10 support is running out at the end of next month, which is why I want to replace the laptop mainly. I mean, it's a good laptop, but the OS is going to be unsupported, which isn't great from a security standpoint. So I'd like it replaced mainly for that reason. And I'm having issues trying to get my gaming videos up to date, because every time I've tried exporting a particular video, like say year one summer, week 3, I think is the latest one. But every time I've tried exporting that to a usable format, the laptop overheats and shuts down. So that's another reason I want to replace it. I mean, I've tried all sorts with it. This current one, it's on a laptop stand at the moment, so it's got little stands at the back to rise it up a bit, just to the heat to disperse. That hasn't helped. Various cooling trays on the market haven't helped. So I don't know. Any ideas? Let me know. But yeah, so that's an issue. There's also, this isn't to do with the laptop, but the only internet available at this place is a guest network, which is open. I really don't like dealing with, because I'm tech savvy enough to know what can happen with an open network. Like the browser I'm using now is Opera GX, because like, it's apparently a nice gaming browser, but Opera has a built-in VPN, so I'm using that as much as possible. So it's a bit of extra security. I've changed the DNS servers to something more secure as well, so that's paring things down a bit. The phone is a bigger problem because it seems to not like things like VPN or DNS changes. So now I can afford one. I've ordered a 5G router, and got the, this was my router when I was living in a tent. So yeah, and that's my lake cat as a wallpaper. But yeah, so this was this was how I was accessing the internet when I was living in a tent. There's a social tariff run by my phone network. There's social tariffs run by quite a few. I was told about that when I was still living in the house, but they're basically concessionary tariffs for people on benefits. So 12 quid a month was buying me unlimited data and phone use. So I was using that for this, but it's still cheaper than the 15 quid a month for data only, unlimited bandwidth. I renewed that because I paused it while I was here, but there's the Wi-Fi here is unreliable as well as being open, so that's why I was like, screw this, I'm getting my own router. So I'm picking it up tomorrow. Um, it's one of those Wi-Fi routers, so like little portable thing. Under 100 quid this one costs. Pretty decent by 5G standards. They can get pretty expensive. Some of the best ones are eye-wateringly expensive, like talk like 600 quid. So yeah, there was another, like, more designed for like home, whole home Wi-Fi, voice assistant friendly and everything, for like 150 quid or something like that. But if I was still in the house, then yeah, that would be better. But in this place, I mean, I'm only living in this room really. I don't really need it in the kitchen. So that little 100 quid router would be fine. The other one is a bit overkill for this place, I think. But yeah, the download and upload speeds seem pretty promising with these 5G routers as well. So hopefully it won't be such a chore uploading videos. So there's that. Oh yeah, those earplugs I mentioned. Now I have the money, I've ordered those as well, so I'll be picking up that router, few other bits. I do have to rein it in now. Like, I've got like about 2,500 left to play with, I think. Oh no, yeah, about 2,500 left to play with after my debt's been paid off and everything. Some of that is going towards my hair removal, and on the pessimistic side, that's only going to cost about 500, give or take. Most of it is going to go on dental bills. How much of that is going to go on dental bills, I don't know yet. I know it's going to be at least a grand and 1,100. That's the base price for dentures. I don't know what else is going to need doing, so I need to be careful with that remaining 2 grand, because at least half of it is going to go on my teeth. So speaking of, there was like this whole thing giving me more thought to, well, more self-reflection really. Like, I felt after a while that I know it's nice and central here, which I was raving about before. That's actually more of a double-edged sword, I'm finding. Like, I felt after a while being here that I was actually starting to regress. Like, thanks to my ADHD, I had to accept that I have a shopping addiction. It's not an easy thing to admit to. It's not an easy thing to get help with either. Like, there isn't any help available for it that I've seen. I mentioned my support worker about this, and he's like, yeah, if you had a substance issue, I'd just send you up the road. That's easy. I was like, yeah, well, there's loads of help available for those. That's the problem with being central is that, well, especially in this particular area, like for anyone who's not been to Bridgend, there's all these lovely superstores dotted around, and I'm smack in the middle of it. So like the I go up the road and down a bit one way, there's two already. There's an Aldi and an Asda. Um, go up near my storage place, um, and walk down a little bit. There's a whole retail park, which is full of superstores. Walk 10 minutes down the road and down a bit the other way. We've got some, we've got a nice spa that I can do a bit of food shopping in, but go down a bit and like, it's nice to be only 10 minutes away from the bus station. It's not so nice when just round the corner from the bus station, you've got these big shops. Like there's a charity shop, like furniture shop, and there's a Home Bargains, and got this whole shopping area. Like it's actually pedestrianised. Like it's just a whole shopping area. So they got these charity shops and stuff like it's basically high street stuff. Yeah, so like anywhere you walk in town, there's just shops. And yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's like being an alcoholic surrounded by off licenses and pubs. So yeah, that's not fun to deal with. But unlike something like alcoholism or gambling or whatever, you need to do shopping to live in this place in this society. Like, I mean, even like when it comes to making my own tops, for instance, like thing here, I can't remember if I showed it before. But it's my cooler weather top I made for myself. So things like that. And the blanket I've been working on, I still need to buy the yarn. And like just clothes in general, I'm wearing clothes that are literally falling apart. Like I'm literally wearing holes in some of these clothes. I'm going to need to replace them at some point. The skinny jeans that I was wearing, I I don't know if it's down to factory revision or what, but they don't fit me properly anymore. So I've had to. I mean, I managed to replace like 3 pairs that I bought off eBay with a reduced pair from Mazda. So um, that's been a thing I've been doing is just browsing Asda's reduced style. And yesterday I managed to do a bit of charity shopping just for a coat because it's getting a bit cooler now. Uh, hoodie, the 8 years old university hoodie that I had from Swansea isn't cutting it or won't be cutting it. I managed to find a nice like Parker style jacket hung up on my door. I found this nice Parker style jacket for £6.50 in a charity shop. So, yeah, like that kind of thing that I need to get. I also needed to replace my joypads because um, what it was getting very, very drifty to the point where it was becoming unusable. So I replaced my joypad, which is much nicer. Um, I upgraded to Hall Effect joypad. So Hall Effect meaning no drift. I already got one for my Switch, so I got another one for the PC and maybe Steam Deck. I Speaking of which, I want to get a proper hub for the Steam Deck at some point. Just thinking aloud to myself now, but dock for the Steam Deck. The one I've got my own is only about 20 quid. But yeah, that kind of thing though, I need to be careful now, which is hard to do when you've just got that much money being given to you. I will be tucking a good portion of that away in my e-savings account until I'm ready to give that to the dentist. But it's an easy access thing, so tuck that away, just let it earn a bit of interest until I'm ready to use it. But yeah, it's a case of trying to change my mindset because, like, apparently one of the signs of shopping addiction is how you so focus on your next purchases. Something I found is that once I get money coming in, my mind goes straight into, right, what do I need to buy? So yeah, I need to find some way to get out of that kind of mindset. But at the same time, there are things that I need to get hold of. Like, I need a proper system for storing my papers. I mean, I've got filing boxes in my storage unit, old paperwork. What I could really do with is some kind of like proper filing drawers or something, or filing cabinet. But there's no room for anything like that here. So yeah, I did get an underbed storage box. Um, Storage is a bit of a thing here. It's like somewhere to keep that yarn, and I need to get more yarn if I want to make this rug. But yeah, I'm very clearly not out of the woods yet. But things are finally starting to look up though. I mean, I never thought I'd be in a position this soon to get my face lasered, let alone get my teeth fixed. So that's really nice. And hopefully I can get breast surgery done in the NHS because it is very much a trans issue. And like browsing charity shops is a bit dysphoric. Like there are these nice clothes that I just don't wouldn't fit very well at the moment. Like, oh, this is kind of unisex top. I think what it's a tighter fitting woman's top, but yeah. So really hoping that can be sorted out without me having to go privately for it. But yeah, I think that is everything. I will try and get back into the videos at some point. Whether that's before or after I get my laptop upgraded, I don't know yet. But yeah, that'll do for now. Probably rambled on quite a bit already. But yeah, catch you later.